Hello, we are Pour Coffee Co. This is Charlie Eisenstadt, and I'm Anthony Lazaro. We're the co-owners of Pour Coffee Co., and we're here today to show you how to make Israeli iced coffee.
So for this recipe, what we're going to do is for the real coffee fans out there, we're going to make Japanese iced coffee, which is a pretty straightforward way to make iced coffee on demand at home. For the Israeli component of this recipe too, you can also use ready-made iced coffee or cold brew or instant if you want. But to make iced coffee at home, we use the Hario V60s for pour-overs. Take a V60 filter, the O2 size, fold over the little tab there, place it into the brew cone, rinse it with, I just have some water off of boil here. And what you want to do is rinse out the filter. This preheats everything and gets rid of any kind of paper taste that's lingering in the filter itself, so you just taste delicious coffee. Once this drains out, we're going to brew our iced coffee recipe. The advantage of this recipe is it cools as it brews. Instead of taking hot coffee that you brewed earlier in the day and throwing it in the fridge, kind of makes it taste rancid and gross. This will just cool it as it brews, kind of to room temp, and then you can throw it over ice and enjoy it that way, or we'll show you how to make Israeli iced coffee as well at home. So we have our carafe here, which will tare to 0. And then this recipe is probably good for 2 servings. Make sure that's zeroed out. And we're going to take 200 grams of ice. We're going to be brewing our Finca Kilimanjaro, which is a Tanzania pea berry that we have. It's got really nice brown sugar, kind of sweet aromas up front. Tons of red grape kind of acidity. It's not too acidic, but it's got a lot of nice juiciness and sweetness that you'd get from like grape juice. And then it has a very nice vanilla finish to it. So I'm gonna measure out 42 grams of coffee. And you want to use pretty much the same grind you would to make regular coffee. So it's got kind of a nice coarse table salt consistency to it. We're gonna brew to 700 grams total. And for the bloom part, where we're kind of adding some hot water, wetting all the grounds, kind of the same idea as a sponge. Like a wet sponge is actually more absorbent than a dry sponge. So we want to wet the grounds, and also it'll release some of the gases that are built up during roasting that you don't want to end up in your brew. So we're going to add about 70 grams. Kind of let those expand, all the gases being released. You can see it kind of bubbling. You just want to add enough water to wet everything, but you don't really want to brew too much through because that's not really extracting any flavors that you want. So we're going to let this go for 30 seconds, and then we're going to pour the rest in slow concentric circles around the middle. Because we added 200 grams of ice, the total we want to be 700, so we're actually only pouring in 500 grams. We want to finish pouring at about 1 minute and 30 seconds. So this will drip through, should finish in about 2.5 minutes or so. Touch this right now, it's pretty much room temperature. So at this point, you can simply pour it over ice and enjoy it that way. You could throw it in the freezer real quick to totally cool it and then throw it over ice. I do both ways at home. But for the Israeli iced coffee recipe, it's basically iced coffee or cold brew blended with milk and sugar. So it's a little on the sweeter side. You can also mix in vanilla or anything like that if you wanted to enhance those kind of sweet flavors. So for the recipe, really all you need is some sugar, some milk. We'll add the coffee first. To that, you want to add about 2/3 of a cup of milk. About 25 grams of sugar. And we're gonna take a little bit more ice. About another cup of ice. And you've got your Israeli iced coffee.